Hello, thank you for joining me today from my chair, episode 152. My peeps, I love you. Yes, we are on Lake Sinclair in Eatonton, Georgia, and we're on vacation this week. And we're on Daddy Edge's boat. We named it our happy place, and it is certainly one of our happy places, and we've been enjoying our week together. We've been going to the lake for vacation for about 8 years, give or take a few. And this year we added a newly licensed boat driver to our repertoire, and my handsome cameraman is now a licensed driver. So he's been boating us around the lake. We've been having fun together. We've been out fishing this morning. I haven't been out fishing. I've been watching them fish. My hunka burning love and my handsome cameraman are with me today on the boat, and so thankful that they're helping me. But yeah, we've been fishing, and no, we didn't catch anything. Got some bites, but it's been fun. It's one of the things we enjoy doing and we enjoy doing together. If you would allow me to push pause on Song of Solomon and just give us something to think about this week. When Caleb was little, start off with a story here, and I'll make it all tie up in the end with the truth for the week. When Caleb was little, I don't know, probably 9 or 10, we all went to a marina on Lake Martin in Alabama, and he quickly became attached to that right there. It's called the Zup board. Nana called it a boogie board, and to this day we still call it the boogie board. I think it's a wakeboard or a knee board, but we call it what she called it way back then, boogie board. And he fell in love with it when we went to the marina, and of course Nan made sure that her handsome fella, walked out of that marina with that board right there. And so about 6 years later, he's still riding the waves with it. But this year we decided that it was time to add this bad boy to the family. It's a Hyperlite Murray, and it's an official wakeboard, and we've had a lot of fun with it. It's very difficult. It's been very difficult to get up on. Not me. I have not tried it. I don't think I'm going to try it. But my fellas have, and they've had some fun with it. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of strength, and but they've been having fun with it. So we've added something to the family this year for their riding enjoyment, and it's so much fun. One of our favorite water sport activities for us as a family is what we call pulling, and that's where these two things come into play. But let me explain it. Okay, so we connect our towable tube. We also have a towable tube with a quick connect tow rope, and I think that's in one of these. It's on here somewhere. But we connect the wakeboards with a ski rope, and we connect it back here, and the driver gives the boat some speed, and the rope tightens up, and away we go. Off we go. In that moment, the person being pulled becomes the main focus of everyone in the boat. We don't rummage around in the snack bag. We did this yesterday. We made sure that everybody had a snack and a Coca-Cola or a bottle of water. We like to enjoy drinking Body Armors and bottles of water. But we made sure that everybody had those before the person gets in the water, because once that happens and once we start pulling, all of our focus is on that person in the water. We don't rummage around in the snack bag. We do not open up the cooler. We don't text. We don't play on our phones. We do videos, GoPro. We have a couple of GoPros, and we like to GoPro, but we don't text and things like that when somebody's in the water. It's not the time to watch the clouds. I love watching the clouds. I love it, and the scenery and the herons. We've seen some herons today, and some ospreys and things. We've seen some of those. It's not time to do that when somebody's in the water about to be pulled. That's how we roll with water sports on the lake. Other people do their thing, but this is what we've always done, and this is how we do it. The one in the water gets our full and undivided attention until he or she is back in the boat. That's how we roll. The one in the water gets our full and undivided attention until he or she is back in the boat. I've been reading recently, it's actually the last month or so, I've been reading and studying through the book of Matthew. The book of Matthew. Just wanting to know the person of Jesus Christ just a little bit better, just a little bit more. What better way to do that than to dive into the Gospels? And I've had fun enjoying reading Matthew. The other day I just finished studying and going through verse by verse, studying the Sermon on the Mount. It took a while. It's 3 chapters, chapters 5, 6, and 7. And I just finished studying the Sermon on the Mount, a Christ manifesto. It begins with, and seeing the multitudes. I thought that was very interesting. And seeing the multitudes, and he began to teach and to preach to them the Sermon on the Mount. This very, very lengthy, amazing. You should study it sometimes, read it. And then it concludes with chapter 8, verse 1. It concludes with that same word. Great multitudes followed him. So you began with multitudes, and he ends it with multitudes. So then in the very next verse, Matthew begins to put a spotlight not on the multitude. It's very interesting. Check your scriptures. Chapter 8, he begins with verse number 2. He begins to take spotlight Jesus' ministry not on multitudes, but on individuals. The one. So verse number 2 is a leper. Verse number 5, a centurion. Verse 14, Peter's wife's mother. So Peter's mother-in-law. Remember when she was sick? One person, the individual. Chapter 9, verse 2, a man sick of the palsy. Verse number 18, he comes and says, my daughter is sick. And then verse number 20, right in that, there's a woman, the woman with the issue of blood. She comes to him. So everything, individuals begin approaching Jesus. As I was reading through the book of Matthew, they begin approaching Jesus with their individual needs and needing for them to help him. Jesus focused on the individual, focused on them. They needed him to pay attention to them only, they needed for him to care for them in that moment. Did Jesus love and care for the multitudes? Absolutely. Absolutely he did. But he healed them individually. Can I put it in this way to make an interesting correlation with what we're talking about today? So as I'm reading through the miracles, I'm finding that the one in the water got his full and undivided attention until he or she was back in the boat. They got his full and undivided attention. And that's how he deals with us today. He deals with us individually. 2 thoughts I have for us, just 2 quick, simple thoughts. Number 1, his attention is on you every second of every day. God's attention, your God, your Lord Jesus, his attention is on you every second of every day. You say, what are you talking about? Well, John chapter 17, verses 14 and 15, Jesus is praying for us. He's praying for you. He's praying for me. He's talking to God the Father, and he says this, John chapter 17, 14, he says, I have given them thy word, and the world hath hated them, because they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, but that thou shouldest keep them from the evil. Yes, your Lord Jesus has his eyes on you every second of every day. You're in the water. You're out in the world, and he knows that. He's like, I don't take them out of the world, but just I'm praying for them to keep them from evil. And so you've got to understand, please understand that we are out in this old world every day, but take courage that his eyes are on you. He's not distracted. He sees you. He sees where you are. He sees what you're going through. He sees what you're doing. He sees your needs, your hurts, your pains. He knows what you need, and he's in complete control of everything that concerns you. I like to put it like this. You consume him. Yesterday we were out, and my handsome fella. He was getting up on the wakeboard, this bad boy right here. And it's difficult. Oh my goodness, watching them struggle. And buddy, it consumed me. I did not want to take my eyes off of him, and I was videoing him, and I didn't want to look away because I was afraid I was going to miss something. You consume God. You consume him. Everything about you consumes him. He doesn't take his eyes off of you for not one moment, not 1 second. Take courage in that today. He doesn't see what I'm going through. He doesn't see what's happening in my life. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. You're out in this old world. He's proud of you. He's pleased with how you're handling things. He's praying for you, and you consume him. His eyes are steadfast on you, just like ours are steadfast on the rider, the one being pulled. We don't take our eyes off of them until they're back safe in the boat. I have a second thought for you today, number 2. So number 1, not only his attention is on you every second of every day, but number 2, it's a question actually. Who is it that needs your undivided attention today? I'm reminded of Philippians chapter 2, verse number 4. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. Pay attention to those people around you. That one in the water, they need your full and undivided attention until he or she is back in the boat. Is someone struggling in your classroom? I've got so many educator peeps out there. I love you so much. And you're starting school, you've started school, you're about to start school. There's going to be a student in your classroom that's going to need you. And they're going to need you specifically and individually. They've got needs, they've got issues, they've got things going on at home. Maybe that they'll never talk about with anybody else, but you got to see that. You could help them with that. Who is it in your realm, in your life, that needs you individually? They need you specifically. Maybe it's someone in your peer group, one of your peeps is just struggling, and I keep your eyes on them. Pay attention to them. Maybe in your youth group, one of my teenage peeps. Maybe, well, I'm a teenager myself. It's okay. You're somebody in your youth group. Maybe they're a new Christian, a new believer, or maybe they're having problems at home, and you, as their peer, you walk with God. You pray. You read your scriptures. Maybe you could come alongside and help them. In your youth group. How about in your Sunday school class? Well, that's the Sunday school teacher's job. No, we've all got to come and help with different things with people. Pay attention to them. Someone in your church, maybe in your workplace, you know somebody's struggling. Go after them, help them. Or maybe in your own house. Maybe someone's struggling even in your own household. Pay attention to them. Who is it in your realm that needs your undivided attention today? That's the one that's in the water. That's the one that's in the water. And they need you. They need something that you have until they get back in the boat. They need your specific prayers. Pray specifically for people. Very specifically. Maybe they need your individual attention, time. Maybe they need your time. A note, a card, or words of encouragement. They need something from you. Pay attention. They're out of the boat, and focus on them because they need you in a very specific way. On the lake, the one in the water gets our undivided attention until he or she is back in the boat safe and sound. So understand, number 1, that your Lord Jesus is giving you his full and undivided attention every second of every day. And then number 2, pay attention because somebody needs you today. Who needs you today? Focus on them. Pay attention to them. Hang with them. Hang with them until they get back in the boat where they need to be. And it'll be an amazing thing. Thank you for joining us on vacation on Lake St. Clair, and I pray that you have a good week. And don't forget Lydia at 11 in her journey to remain cancer-free. Now go be amazing today.